Sheath Underwear has ruined my life. Let me explain. The other day, I went to grab a pair of underwear and I realized that all of my sheath were in the hamper. So I had to resort to wearing one of my old boxer briefs, super low-hanging, uncomfortable. Took a shower, put those on, and tried to get some work done, and I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't concentrate. It's ruined my life. I am now spoiled. I can't live without sheath underwear. It's a life ruiner. In the best way possible. In the same way as that one person you met in high school that you fell in love with and you were bringing them gifts and trying to make them fall in love with you and just couldn't live without them, and and then you see them with the prom king or queen and it just ruins your life. But also you got to experience all that love and now you're a stronger person. That's what Sheath Underwear can do for you. It'll ruin your life but make it better in the end. Go to sheathunderwear.com, use my promo code RRBG, save 20% and change your life for the better. It may seem like trouble at first, but it'll be worth it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with Dino Cazares, or how the Americans say, Cazares.
It's all good.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm over here in sunny California. So
same. I'm in LA. I was gonna say I've actually seen you often at like shows or local bars and stuff. You're always hanging out, man, with the homie Alexis from Three Teeth. Yes,
I'm always out. I'm always out about. Definitely a big fan of the LA music scene. The bar scene. Just being a social butterfly.
How have you been handling this whole thing? Because LA, we're still kind of now opening up, but it's been a year of no bars, no hanging out. So what have you been doing during this whole year?
Writing, getting things prepared for when the world does open up. Obviously the new Fear Factory. Working on that stuff, working on. Fear Factory vinyl of a reissue of Demanufacture.
Ooh, nice.
With live bonus tracks and having to work on that. Also, The Industrialist, our record that came out in 2012 that had drum programming. We put live drums on that. Ooh. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I was busy with. The Neo Assassino record. So,
sick.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I was busy with because I'm lucky that my next door neighbor is my engineer.
Ah, okay. That's good.
So, we weren't afraid of us getting COVID because it's just us hanging out all the time, right?
Yeah.
He literally lives 2 doors down from me. So I'm there all the time. His name is Damien Reynaud. He's a engineer, producer, all the above. Everything I mentioned has worked on with me.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a blessing, right? When you have that connection there right next door. And you have this downtime where there's no touring or anything. So, it's good that you took advantage of it. A lot of people ended up kind of becoming this, shell of a person or like depressed or like, I can't write, I can't do anything, which I don't blame them. I mean, it hit me for a couple months where I'm like, I don't even know if I want to do this podcast. I don't know. I don't want to do anything. But
because you don't know you don't know where the world is going. You don't know what's going to happen. So when you got to be told to be locked down, you just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
All of a sudden your world changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then after, like you said, after a few months, I was like, my fucking next door neighbor, Damien, we're around each other 24/7. I mean, why can't we work on something?
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Yeah. And I always have guitars and amps around me. Like me sitting here right now, right next to me is a guitar rig for me to jam on and always write music.
That's great.
I'm actually sitting on my couch in my living room, looking at the TV, looking at the screen here, and right next to me, here's a guitar.
Nice.
That's on my couch, and here's like the amps and more guitars right there. So it's like
very cool.
I'm constantly writing something, and if I'm a musician, so however I'm feeling, whether it's depressed, whether it's being happy or whatever, I always got an instrument to make me feel or to get it out, if you know what I mean.
For sure. And hey, yeah. I want to get into the new Fear Factory, but since you showed me your gear, I want to gear out a little bit. I want to be a little nerdy. So I saw an
this is just the gear I have here. It's not necessarily what I have in the studio.
Right. So why do you choose orange cabs? I mean, I have a nice connection with orange. Those are my good friends, and long history with them. But, you know, do you use orange on stage, or is that just like for home?
No, I don't use orange on stage at all.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't, because I don't use any cabs on stage. I can run direct to the house, and it's really it works out great because, you know, my Kemper, which is what I have right here.
Yeah.
The Kemper, right? That, you know, we hook it up to the computer, and the computer runs all my MIDI changes through MIDI. It does all my patch changes on here, right? We run it through the computer. The computer has a click track. The computer has the lights. The computer has the backing keyboard tracks, and it does all my MIDI changes, my MIDI patch changes on my Kemper. You know, we all run in ears, so
yeah,
it's a completely different vibe, right?
For sure.
Well, on record, yeah, we use cabinets. I use real heads. They're in the studio, like my engineer I was talking about. He has my Marshall JC100. It's modified by Fortin. You know, so that's the stuff we use on the records. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
But the cabinets, this orange cabinet here, I got really into orange about 2018. I was playing a show, and I was on tour with Jamie Josta, and we were in Europe, in the UK actually. We were in the UK, and we were playing a show, and I brought my Kemper, but I needed a cab on stage because there was not really any good monitors at this one club, and they had this 4x12 orange cabinet, but this one in particular, it's a more of a compact box, right? Yeah, it's not like your regular cabinet where it's a bigger one. This is smaller and tighter, so the four speakers are closer to each other, right? And it sounded fucking amazing. It sounded tight. It had this really good tight low end that I really liked. And so I instantly, when I got home from that tour, I called up Orange and said, "Look, I got to get one of those." And they sent one out right away, and I've had it ever since. But if I ever have to use a cabinet live, I hope that's what I use. You know what I mean? I get to use.
Was it Alex? Did you talk to Alex out for Orange?
I don't remember. This was like 2018. I don't remember who. I haven't spoken to them since, really.
Oh, okay. It was probably Alex. He's no longer with the company anyway, but he was like the main guy for the U.S. like artist relations for a long time, so probably him. And then I saw the guitar. I see that, you know, you're using like a headless. Is that?
Well, this is just a headless. This is great for when I sit at home. You know, it's not that big. It's great just to jam and write shit with.
Nice. What brand is that? I can't recognize the brand.
It's called Ormsby Guitars.
Ormsby. Okay.
Yeah, and as you know, I have signature guitars.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't know, but I have signature guitars with Ormsby. This is just one of them.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
One of the many.
Very nice.
I also have a signature pickup called the Machete with
nice.
With Seymour Duncan.
Seymour Duncan, nice. I love them.
Yep.
So yeah, that's cool. I mean, what's the benefit for you? Like the headless, is there aside from, I guess, not losing tuning? I'm assuming because the tuning is a little bit easier, like more locked in place.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on what it depends on how you have your guitar set up. For me, I have locking tuners on all my fixed bridge guitars. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I have locking tuners, but this one is, obviously it has to be that way because there's no headstock.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, the benefit of this is one is that it's smaller, so it's more compact. You could take it with you. The case is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So you can carry it on the plane easily. You could, put it in the back of the bus, in your bedroom, in the back of a car, wherever.
Nice. So let's talk a bit about the new album, man. Aggression Continuum. It's coming out June 18th. It's been about 5 years since new music came out. They're a
little over 5 years. Yes, 2015 was the last time Genexus came out. Yeah,
wow.
It's August 2015. Yeah.
So what was the motivation to do more? I mean, obviously you want to keep the band going, but getting hit by a pandemic, it feels like the timing was like, all right, this is probably when bands are either going to write or just go away. And what got you to decide to jump into putting out a new album?
Well, first of all, we went through a lot of struggles just to get this record out. You know what I mean? Obviously, the legal bullshit we went through,
Mm.
just to retain the name Fear Factory. So at some point, we didn't know if the record was going to be called Fear Factory or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's just determination to win this legal battle and be able to use the trademark name and to complete the album. Just working with Nuclear Blast has been a pleasure because a guy named Monty Connor works there. Monty Connor used to be with Roadrunner Records, and Roadrunner Records was him in particular was the guy who discovered Fear Factory way back and signed us to a record company. And he works at Nuclear Blast now, and so working with him has always been an absolute pleasure because he really gets the band, he understands the band, and he's always been behind the band. So when we got this record out, or when you guys first heard the first single, I was like, finally, it's like, get this thing out.
Yeah.
But during the COVID year or the COVID years,
Yeah.
We were able to make some changes on the record, put some live drums on the record because previously it had programmed drums.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were able to go into the studio and record live drums with our drummer Mike Keller, who's been with us for 9.5 years. So put him on the record, and then
that's good too. No, that's good too because I love when, even though your sound is sometimes categorized as industrial, and you read that, you automatically assume like, oh, it's going to have programmed drums or something. But live drum, there's just nothing like having a live drum sound on a record.
Correct. We used programmed drums on a record called The Industrialist, which came out in 2012, and a lot of fans weren't very happy about it for some reason. They just completely dismantled the record, and they were just so unhappy and disgusted that we used the drum programming, which is kind of weird because we're an industrial / metal industrial band, and you would think that we would be a band that would use drum programming, right?
Yeah.
But no, they weren't having it. So I decided to go back and re-record The Industrialist with live drums.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when we went to this new record, we had drum programming on it as well. So I decided we better not release a record like that again. So I had time to go back and have Mike Keller record the live drums on it. And it definitely made a world of difference.
That's awesome. And I know you guys been dealing with, you can Google Fear Factory and find the issue of Burton exiting the band. So I don't want to get into it too much unless you want to, but I know you guys are looking for a new vocalist. I saw like a post on IG where you're, kind of on the search. Has that been completed? Did you guys find a vocalist? Are you still looking?
Well, we found a handful of people that are amazing, right?
Okay.
Because of this COVID restriction, we haven't been able to spend any time with the person. So we're hoping that once the restrictions are lifted, that we're ever going to be able to spend some time and get into the studio. And, hopefully it's all about the chemistry right now because the guys we found were very talented, right? But now it's all about see if we get along with them. Everything, the chemistry between us and him or her. Or her.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There's some very talented people out there, and we found a few of them.
Very cool.
Male and female. So it's like I said, it's all about spending time with the person, making sure they're going to be able to handle being on the road for X amount of years. Just to see if we, get along, see if he does well in the studio.
Yeah.
And, people have been sending in video submissions.
Okay.
And, like I said, there's a bunch of talented people out there. And we narrowed it down to a handful. So.
That's good. Yeah, it's important. The chemistry is super important because you can be this phenomenal singer, and if you get on stage together and there's no chemistry there, it just doesn't work. It feels fake or forced or something. So,
exactly.
So yeah, you got to make sure you have that connection. Now, without revealing, obviously, because you don't know who it's going to be until you go through the list, but. Have you seen or have you received any auditions from people that are already established, in other bands, or is this mostly like newer voices that you're kind of trying to elevate?
Well, definitely newer voices I'm trying to elevate, but yes, we did get some submissions from people in other known bands. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm excited to see. A bunch of my friends hit me up because I used to sing in a band for about 10 years, and they were like, "You should try out." I'm like, I can't be in a band right now. It's this is during the whole thing. This was before I even got my vaccine and all that. So I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go back out into the world. So I'm not doing that. But now that I have, it's like, I feel like that part of my life is behind me. A lot of people keep pushing me to be like, go sing, go do a band. It's like, I'm good.
You feel that's behind you as far as being in a band?
Yeah, I just don't want to be a front man. I feel like I could still be in a band, but like maybe play bass or like the whole.
You want to be like kind of like behind the scenes, sort of, right?
Right. Yeah. Like I'm too old and too out of shape to be the front guy. I'm not like this.
Look at me.
Yeah, but like I can't be the front man. I can't be like I don't have hair. I don't have the look.
We're all kind of losing it a little bit here and there.
So in terms of the record, man, I heard the new song, Disruptor. The video's out now, and it's like this post-apocalyptic kind of looking situation, like Terminator-ish.
Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, Terminator Salvation, which could also just be LA today.
Well, it did feel like that at one point, right?
Yeah,
like
man.
The streets were dead. Nobody was out in the streets.
Supermarkets are empty.
I loved it because I would have to. I would drive to San Diego to go see my family, and it felt great.
Yeah,
getting on the 5 freeway and there's no traffic, nothing.
Yeah, I missed it. I miss that. Like I feel. As I've gotten older, being in crowded, areas has been more and more annoying. So
exactly.
So now that I see, that it was, empty or free of people just crowding you, it felt good. And I feel that we're going to overdo it when everything opens right back up. Everybody's just going to be piled on top of each other. Like they missed the connection,
And it's funny you say that because that's exactly how I feel about touring. Because the minute that everything's lifted and everybody's out there touring, everybody's going to go out there at once. Like boom, there's going to be an overflow of all these bands, and it's going to be so much competition, and people are only going to be able to afford certain shows. So I think that for us, holding off till the right moment is important.
Sure, and I mean, you've still got some work to do in terms of like establishing the vocalist and getting them to learn all of the parts of all. I'm sure you're going to learn all the old songs too. They're not just going to learn the new album, so they got to learn all that.
There's a couple of people who know all of it, all the old catalog, everything. They they sing their ass off. They're amazing, but again, I don't know them personally.
Right.
So I want to get to know these people.
And so I was mentioning Disruptor. It's heavy. It's one of your heavier tracks. Is that kind of going to be the direction for the record? Because I know you guys are kind of all over the place sometimes. There's some songs that are like more electronic, a little bit more groovy. Some songs are more thrash. So is it the same, or is this, amalgam of all these different styles, or is there a direction with this new record?
Well, every record that we try to do, we always try to bring in new elements or just, different things. And we try to always surpass what we did on the last record, right?
Yeah.
But I chose Disruptor as the first single because it's an instant banger.
Yeah.
Boom. Disruptor. He's already screaming the title of the song, what it's about. Boom, the riff kicks in. And it's like you got that, fast groove that's going on. And it really kind of, can get you. It can really sink you in right away. And then when you start getting into the song and you hear the killer chorus, the really hooky chorus, it was a quick banger is what I could call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was only 3 minutes and 20 seconds. But, the next song that's going to come out is more of an epic song. It's like 5 minutes, 20 seconds, something like that. It's a longer song. People's attention spans are shorter these days. So that's why I chose Disruptor as the first banger.
Yeah.
And then now we're going to give them more of the epic songs. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah. I hear you.
But as far as the record, Disruptor is only a piece of what the rest of it is. You know what I mean? But to me, when I put together a record, I put together a record like if it's a song, like, you know, it has the intro, then it dips down for the verse, and then it builds up during the pre-chorus, and the chorus it takes off, and then it kind of does it again, and then the midsection it kind of gives it another boost. That's kind of like how I put the album together. I look at the album as like a one long song. So the sequence of the album is like one long song.
Gotcha.
That's how I look at it, of how I do the song placements.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you put thought into that, because a lot of people don't. And it's so important to have a flow to the record if you want somebody to listen to the whole record. Because some bands, you know, they'll put out a record and the first 3 tracks are these banger, 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 and then it just kind of goes somewhere else. And it kind of I lose interest, and I'm just like, whatever, and I turn it off. You want to keep them.
Yeah, I have people who tell me like those deep cuts are their favorite songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those are the ones that are a little longer. You have longer intros and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of people tell me they like the deep cuts.
Well, I like the idea of treating it like a whole song where there's peaks and valleys throughout the whole record so that you stay engaged. Like that's really cool. And I've always enjoyed go on.
Like you use the word flow, and you're correct. The flow of the record is very, very important of how, you know, because you want to keep the person interested. You know what I mean? And I think that when Fear Factory puts out records, that people are interested because there's a lot going on there besides the music and the vocals. I mean, because then you have a story, a concept. For instance, Aggression Continuum is obviously continuing with the aggression, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of like it's kind of like what the story's about. It's a continuation of what we have. It's a chapter in an ongoing story, right?
Yeah.
And also, it also means that that I'm going to be continuing with this aggression. I'm going to be. There's a new chapter coming, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to go to the next chapter, and that's where things are going to be even much different. You know, with a new singer. You know what I mean? That's going to be a big difference. So, also on the cover, there is a automaton that's in the shape of kind of like an X, and the X resembles the Roman numeral 10. So this is our 10th studio record.
I see. I'm looking at it right now. It's like the 2 Fs. It's like your logo, but it's also an X, kind of like the bottom parts are, you know, a little split.
Open up to be like an X, correct?
Yeah.
And then on the bottom left F, is it left? Yeah, left F. The bottom one, the shorter one. Right at the tip, there is the serial number of the automaton. So it says FF10 3190. Right? Okay, yeah. Can you see that?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at your website. I don't necessarily.
Oh, okay. You can't blow it up.
I see it. Yeah. It's actually, from my perspective, it's on the right-hand side, but it could be, you know, it is stage left.
Yeah. So then that is also the birth date of the machine. That's the birth of the machine. Okay. That's when the band first started, 10/31/90.
Nice. Okay.
So it's kind of like, you know, it also shows you the birth, the 10th album, and it also Aggression Continuum means that we're just going to continue with it. So
that's cool.
Kind of all goes hand in hand. Yeah.
And I saw, you know, in that post that you made looking for a new singer, I saw, you know, the homie Tony Campos is back. He joined the band around 2015, right? 2016?
Yeah, he joined, I want to say, I think it was 2015. Maybe before Genexus or right around that time. Yeah,
I was going to say, was he involved in Genexus in terms of writing? Is he going to, or was he involved in the new record too?
No, he wasn't involved in the new record. He was pretty busy with his band Static X at the time. You know, they obviously went through some major changes as well.
Yeah.
You know, so he was pretty busy with that stuff. But yeah, he will continue to be with us when we perform live. But when he is busy with Static X, because he's going to be doing both bands at the same time. And what we're trying to do right now is work it out where both bands are touring at the same time, so we can do double duty.
Right, that'd be cool. Yeah,
that'd be great. He's a trooper. He's done it before. We played a festival in Mexico. Asesino did, but he played with Asesino, Static X, on that same festival, Assassino, Static X, and Cavalier Conspiracy.
Wow.
So we did 3 shows that day. So he's definitely a trooper. So like I said, we're going to try to put both bands on tour together so we can do both. But when it doesn't happen that way, we're just going to get a fill-in bass player. And most likely it will be Matt DeVries, who's in Chimera. Mm-hmm. He's also was with us for a little while too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
During the Industrialist touring. So yeah, so he would be filling in.
Now, I know that this record isn't even out yet, comes out in June, but are you getting excited at the concept or the idea of potentially like another record with a new singer?
Yes.
And maybe even Tony involving in the writing and all that stuff.
Yes, I'm very, very anxious to. Well, I've already written some new stuff already.
Wow. Okay.
Right? But I just haven't had anybody sing on it yet.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for the right moment.
Very cool. So, I mean, fans of Fear Factory, you have a lot to look forward to, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of releases coming out, a lot of reissues, and we got one of the cool things that we got is Mechanized and the Industrialist back up on Spotify and iTunes because they disappeared for a little while during the legal, I'll call it the legal years. During the legal lawsuits, certain things disappeared, but now they're slowly coming back. One of the things that I get asked all the time, and I always have to clarify myself, and hopefully people will listen to this podcast and hear that I do not own any rights to Archetype and Transgression. People tell me all the time, people blame me all the time, you're not putting those records out because you weren't on it and you're not going to make any money from it. That's not the case. The case is that the record company owns those records and the record company can say and choose as they will with those records. So if they're not up on Spotify or iTunes, I'm the last guy you need to ask about those records.
Yeah.
One, I wasn't even on those records. So
yeah, so there's no, I mean,
set the record straight.
Yeah, there's no reason to, fight the crowd of Twitter haters or whatever. Like, go direct your anger at the label. You want those records on Spotify, then go talk to the label. Go tag them and let them know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now that, the band is gearing up to kind of be back on the forefront, new album touring is eventually going to start happening. I'm assuming around June or July. I think they said that the world's opening back up. So I'm assuming shortly after that you're touring. Are there any plans for like extracurricular things that a lot of bands are doing these days? Like some bands have video games or toys or beer.
We did talk to a couple of companies about doing beer. I think one of my favorites is Stone Brewery. So hopefully that we will be able to do something with them.
Okay.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
I think that'd be a good fit.
But there will be an Edge Crusher beer or a Replica beer or a Disruptor beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense, man. I mean, it's kind of becoming a normal thing now for bands to have their own beer, especially if they're drinking. If it's a band that drinks and or has a reputation for being a good party band, or like people know that you're a famous local guy here at the bars. So
you make it sound like I'm like this alcoholic.
No. I get that.
Sometimes I go just to hang out.
Yeah, I get the same thing too. A lot of people are like, oh, every time you show up, I get fucked up. I'm like, that's your problem, not mine. I'm just there to have a good time. If you're getting drunk, I'm sorry.
But hey, I think we went 2 minutes past. So
yeah.
I got to get to my next guy.
Yeah, for sure. So, quick wrap up then. So if anybody wants to follow everything, what are your socials and everything like that?
Go to the everything Dino Cazares, or go to fearfactory.com.
Fearfactory.com. And or follow Fear Factory on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. I'm sure you can find them pretty easily. Dino, thanks again for your time, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too. Cheers.
Bye.